Hello, welcome to ThreatWire. Since 2005, we've been hosting this show, Hack 5. It's a variety show all about hacking in the old school sense. And we are now very excited to be launching a new show right here on TechFeed called ThreatWire.
We're aiming to cover security and privacy issues and anything threatening our internet.
And every week, we're going to be looking to take on things from security breaches to privacy policies and your rights online, the stuff that we're really passionate about, and hopefully dispel some of the fear, uncertainty, and doubt propagated by the mainstream media.
It's so true. So whether you guys have been defending the internet from tyranny since the beginning, or simply posting first in the comments, we encourage you to get involved, tune in, and arm yourself with the knowledge to stay safe online.
And with all of that, let's go ahead and start this week with the hacker headlines. Former CIA Director David Petraeus has been in the headlines recently. The director of former Afghanistan War Commander resigned from his position in the CIA earlier this month, expressing regret for hurting his family and for his lapse in judgment in conducting an affair with Paula Broadwell, his biographer. Now, the affair was uncovered by authorities while investigating threatening emails anonymously sent to a Florida woman containing location data that correlated with Broadwell. Now, the rest of the story reads like something out of USA Weekly, so I'm going to go ahead and leave that as an exercise for you. Yeah, totally.
Well, what interests us is the spotlight recently put on email privacy laws, specifically the 1986 Electronic Communications Privacy Act, which basically allows the government to access contents of electronic communications and electronic storage, which is your email, older than 180 days without a court order or a warrant. Now, contents newer than 180 days still require a warrant.
Now, this is perfect timing for Google's release of its twice-yearly transparency report, which includes the number of requests from government agencies and the courts around the world to hand over user data. When I say user data, I mean emails, documents, browsing activity, IP addresses, and things of that nature.
Wait, so you're saying that they are sending over public IP address information to the masses?
Actually, what I'm saying is that they're releasing statistical information about what countries are requesting how much of that data, and not necessarily what users
just
and IP addresses are involved. Yeah.
Okay.
And so here's what we've learned from this. What we've learned is that the government snooping is on the rise. Google's first transparency report covered the second half of 2009, and it indicated about 12,500 requests globally. Now compare that with the first half of 2012, and that number is now about 21,000, for an increase of almost 67%. Now, Google reports that in the first half of 2012, the United States made almost 8,000 requests, covering about 16,000 user accounts, of which Google either fully or partially complied with about 90% of those.
Okay, now let's compare this to, say, Ireland, who made 34 requests, only 6% of which were satisfied, Brazil with about 1,500 requests and 76% of those were satisfied, or Turkey, Hungary, and Russia, where none of those requests were completed.
Now, of course, this doesn't include national security letters, which involve kind of a gag order. Those are submitted under the USA Patriot Act, otherwise known as the Uniting and Strengthening America by Providing Appropriate Tools Required to Intercept and Obstruct Terrorism Act of 2001, coming to theaters near you. No, but in all seriousness, it doesn't include those, nor does it include FISA orders, which are Foreign Intelligence Surveillance Act of 1978, which is kind of an anti-terrorism eavesdropping court order.
Yeah.
And most specifically involving this act that we're talking about here, it doesn't include the number of requests which don't require a warrant.
Now, this brings up some recent proposed legislation, like the H.R. 6339. This is the Electronic Communications Privacy Act Modernization Act of 2012. It's sponsored by Representative Gerald Nadler, a Democrat from New York, and it was introduced in August of 2012. Now, this amendment would require a warrant or a court order to access the contents of a wire or electronic communication that is stored, held, or maintained. Furthermore, unless there's a delay notice of up to 90 days, say if a person is a flight risk, they're endangering their life, destruction of evidence, or what have you, the subscriber must be provided a copy of the warrant, which is kind of nice. Now, it was referred to the Subcommittee on Crime, Terrorism, and Homeland Security in September 2012, where it's most likely going to die, because GovTrack says this bill only has a 2% chance of being enacted.
Which has very little to do with videotapes, but it actually brings us to the Video Privacy Protection Act. introduced in July of 2011 by Representative Bob Goodlatte, a Republican from Virginia. It actually aims to amend this section of the U.S. Code, allowing video rental services to disclose personally identifiable information, adding that permission can be obtained electronically. Previously, you had to send in a letter in the mail. So this would, for example, allow Netflix to share information with Facebook, say, if you opt into that.
Oh, you have to opt in.
Well, this is something that passed in the House in December of 2011, and the voting on this is going to be happening at the end of the month, November 29th. GovTrack's giving this bill a 42% chance of actually being enacted, and Senator Patrick Leahy of Democrat of Vermont has included a rider, so that's how this all ties in.
What's a rider?
Basically, they tack it onto the end of the bill. It could either be a poison pill or it could just be something that wouldn't have passed on its own.
Oh, I see.
So now it's a package deal. It's kind of like when you order the sports package and now you have to get some crap you don't want.
Yay, cable!
Right, I guess that's a way to describe it. And so this is this would actually amend the Electronic Communications Privacy Act, eliminating that 180-day rule. It would actually require a warrant, and it would require disclosure to the customer or subscriber. It's very similar to that HR 6339, which probably isn't going to pass.
Okay, well, let's talk about this for a sec. Let's give some recommendations about those emails, shall we?
Okay, what you got?
So, delete those emails of older than 180 days.
No.
Which Darren probably won't do because he doesn't even check his email.
I have a hard enough time staying on top of what just came in. I mean,
Yeah,
sure,
no
you
kidding.
could do some Gmail search food to find what's older than 180 days and automatically delete it.
Yeah, you could do that.
That's assuming, though,
That's just in Gmail.
that these kind of warrantless tapping is following those kinds of rules, and reading between the lines here and seeing all of the other ways in which your digital information is being snooped on, I would just go ahead and say, forget all of that. First of all, don't store it in the cloud, right? If I'm going to put my tinfoil hat on, well, back in the day, what we used to do is we used this cool protocol called POP3. There's several others out there.
Is that like Outlook?
Secure ways to do it. Well, you could use it with Outlook. You could use it today with Thunderbird, an open source client for multiple platforms. You could use it with, Eudora, Pegasus, Pine, Elm, you name it. The idea being, rather than leaving all of your digital stuff in the cloud, keep it on your own hard drive, keep it secure yourself. Furthermore, encrypt all the things.
Yeah, you can encrypt with PGP or GPG, but those are extremely complicated. It's really hard to figure those out.
Sadly, I really wish that it was one of those solutions where you could just say to a consumer, "Oh, we're just to put the VPN and put on the GPG," but you can't. I mean, it's not a checkbox, and unfortunately, it's not easy. However, it is something that we're getting into in a series on our sister show, Hack 5, throughout December. So if that's something you want to get nitty-gritty about, hak5.org for that. And hopefully through that we can find some easy way to bring this to consumers, because really
I hope so.
That's the best advice. Is if it's something of importance, you should just be going ahead and forget the idea of government surveillance or corporate eavesdropping or any of that, and just go ahead and do due diligence from the get-go and encrypt all the things.
And you can get involved with the digital due process. They're modernizing surveillance laws for the internet age. You can find them over at digitaldueprocess.org. And they're a coalition of privacy advocates. They include Twitter, they include the EFF, Facebook, Dropbox, Google, IBM, all sorts of cool people.
Well, hopefully something good will come of this Petraeus scandal, if only just awakening us that are, of our fleeting digital rights. Now, the EFF has launched a new campaign page advocating for eCPA reform. And you can find that page and actually use it to contact your congressperson, and you can take action right over at vanishingrights.com.
So what are your thoughts? Is this a concern to you? It's a concern to me. And do you take any steps to thwart the electronic surveillance of our governments? Let us know down in the comments.
And be sure to let us know what you think, what your concerns are about your online safety and your privacy. And together, we're going to evolve this show. So I'm really excited to grow this with you guys.
I'm excited too. So until next time, I'm Shannon Morris.
I'm Darren Kitchen. You've been watching ThreatWire, and we'll see you on the internet.